You're listening to nothing important.
Hang out with your wang out.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Please enjoy the show. That's great. That works.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Nothing Important Podcast. Insert witty tagline here. My name is Brian, and with me, as always, is the next Chicago basketball player to sign with the New York Knicks, Dave. Dave, how's it going, my friend?
I'm just going to take this show to New York, you know?
Yeah. Hey, look at that. It's a sports reference. You should be proud of me, dude.
I'm actually really impressed with that reference, Brian. Not only did you know that there was one Chicago Bull, but possibly two at this point?
I don't know. According to the news, like literally 5 minutes ago, Joakim Noah is going to sign with the Knicks. So for sports people, that's probably a big deal. For me, it just made an interesting opening to the show. But I am glad you are here. Okay, so what we were saying before we turned the microphones on, the weird thing about doing this is we're doing it on the computers. You have a dual screen setup because you're at Third City Sound in Joliet, Illinois.
Correct.
The studio you work out of. And I'm at home with a microphone in me and my wife's bedroom. So what always makes me nervous is because we use Blab so we can see each other and gauge reactions. And then I use Audacity to record and, and sometimes I have other web pages open so I can go back and forth. And if I need some information or just to look up something on the fly real quick, right?
Yes.
But since I have a single screen, even doing this for almost like 2 years now, I still have very little faith in the technology. So it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous when we're recording and I can't see the vocal track being populated.
It's happening during a show where I've stopped recording and didn't realize it and had to go back and start over on a segment or two.
Yeah. Yeah, so I keep flipping back and forth. Sometimes when people are talking, I just see like the flat line on Audacity. Mm-hmm. I'm like, maybe I should just make like a noise or clap my hands or something just so I can see the like audio profile spike just a little bit so I know that my microphone is still working.
Watch the metering, man. Watch the metering.
So today, we discussed how I'm now, for all intents and purposes, a housewife.
Mr. Mom, as it were.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very much like Hulk Hogan in Suburban Commando right now.
Oh, I thought you were preparing for the obstacle course race.
Yes.
At the end of Mr. Mom. That's all I remember from Mr. Mom is Michael Keaton in some like shitty obstacle course race with a little tricycle and some beer. I don't know.
Oh, well,
I think that's Revenge of the Nerds.
Either way, my wife calls me up and she tells me to make dinner. And sometimes when we make food, because our schedules are so hectic, we'll make the food and then we'll freeze it. So so my wife makes you've had this before, Mexican goodness. It's like a casserole / lasagna dish, but it's made with all like Mexican quote unquote ingredients. So instead of noodles, it's like the tortillas and all the good stuff, that would go like enchilada sauce and meat and beans and cheese and all the good stuff that would go into like a taco. Right?
So it's racist as fuck.
Yes. especially by today's standards. So I take that out of the freezer and I put that in the oven and I just hear this awesome boom and like spray of glass. And I live in Chicago and there's a lot of crime in Chicago right now. So my kids are sleeping. I hear this loud boom, glass spray everywhere. And I think somebody tried to break in through the back window of my house. So being superhero, I run to the kitchen and I grab a knife and my phone because I don't know. I guess my plan was either to start stabbing while I called 911 or, like get the fuck out of my house and start calling the cops. But then I hear all this sizzling and I realize that my dinner had blown up.
Nice.
and I'll post the pictures on Twitter, but it didn't look that bad. I was like, oh, okay, well, the sides of it kind of blew out. Obviously, you can't eat it because there's glass everywhere inside the oven.
Says you.
Yeah. I guess if I was more hardcore, I could have tried.
That just sounds like a challenge to me, but go ahead.
I still have it. I have it like sitting on a pizza peel on top of my.
Gonna eat glass, man.
Everybody wants to see you eat glass, Dave. So, yeah. So my dinner blew up, like literally blew up, and I had never seen that before. And it was good because I got sushi out of it, but it's bad because now I have to clean the oven. and and what to compound the story, our apartment owner only put one smoke alarm in the entire apartment. Right, I have like a pretty big apartment by Chicago standards.
Yeah,
you know?
you do.
I got like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, back porch, family room, kitchen. It's a pretty big apartment by Chicago standards. And so, like 2 weeks ago, we noticed that there was only one smoke detector in the entire apartment. It was probably like the most minimal requirement that they had when they remodeled this apartment.
Yeah, and glad it
was one.
Good thing it only took you 3 years to notice.
Right. That's what me and my wife said. So we bought these really nice smoke detectors and put them up through in every room and put them up throughout the apartment. So now we went from one smoke detector to about 6. And so they're very sensitive because they're new and they're, you know, modern.
Right.
And of course I blew up dinner tonight, which caused a lot of smoke.
Right.
Which woke up my sleeping children.
Right.
Which is why I was late for recording today.
Well, there you go.
But on the bright side, though, I know that we're safe because our smoke alarms work.
And then you ate a cookie.
And then I ate a cookie and I had to order sushi and tell my wife that I ruined dinner.
You probably
Well, who
did it
doesn't
on
like-
purpose just to get the sushi.
That's what my wife said. She said I did it on purpose just so I had one less dish to clean. But coming up in just a few minutes, we have Violett Beane from the Flash TV show calling in, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, more so for you, honestly, than me. I mean, it is exciting, and any guest we have, I'm definitely willing to talk to, and I'm pretty sure I'll be doing a lot more listening to this one because I don't know jack about comic books, man.
That's okay, man, because I'm working on trying to get some more musical people and some more sports people on the show so then I can sit there awkwardly.
Exactly.
But hey, you should be proud of me. In the opening of this very show, I actually did a sports reference just for you.
A legit sports reference.
A legit sports reference.
That's right.
One day, because I kind of suck as a guy. I'm not impressed by strippers. I have no desire to work on my own car, and I know absolutely nothing about sports. So all I need to do is go to more strip clubs and learn how to change my own oil, and I'll be a real man, Dave. I'll be a real boy.
But I can tell you one thing. I am completely unimpressed by strip clubs as well. Not a fan. But somebody doesn't listen to Chris Rock songs from the late 90s because they thought there was sex in the champagne room, and there is no sex in the champagne room.
Well, maybe not on their budget.
He wasted a lot of money. He wasted a lot of money.
Well, it's good to know that even strippers have morals.
Well, it's not the strippers. In all honesty, it's the club. Like, this is a club that you can tell they price out the riff-raff. It's kind of a fancier deal, I guess.
Mm.
And if you're going to bang a stripper, you negotiate something after work, after hours, not in the strip club. But literally no one's ever going to suck you off in a strip club of that. Not that kind of strip club.
Right.
That was a gentleman's club.
Yeah, there you go. It wasn't a strip club. That was a true gentleman's club.
Yeah.
All right. With that, let's go ahead and get to our interview with Violett Beane. Absolutely. Give me 1 second, Dave. I think our guest, Violett Beane from the Flash TV show, is giving us a call. One moment. Dave, are you there?
I am here.
Dave, we have Violett Beane from the Flash TV show on our somewhat important hotline. Yay!
Hello, Violett.
Hello. How are you?
If
Pretty good.
If I may make a correction, Brian is 40 miles north of me, and hopefully I just made it really awkward by proving I was eavesdropping on your conversation.
Oh, you heard that whole thing?
Yeah, through the blab I did, yeah.
Oh.
Well, I think we're all in different locations.
Oh. Well, awesome. Dave, thanks for eavesdropping, and Violett, thanks for being on our show. We're excited to have you, and we're really excited to talk with you, and hopefully we don't say anything too offensive to you.
I hope not either.
Well, see what my problem is sometimes I go to make a joke that I think is funny, and then it's just like crickets from like there on out. So,
Okay.
so I feel compelled to apologize. No, I won't say anything rude, or at least I hope I won't say anything rude. So we're very excited to talk to you, and I guess we could start. We were actually supposed to record with you a couple days ago, but you were actually out of country at a Comic-Con?
Yeah, I was. It was my first comic convention. It was in Brussels in Belgium.
Oh, man, how was that?
It was actually pretty awesome. I don't know what I was expecting. I just knew I was going to go and sign some stuff and take some photos, but it was really great. There was only 3 other actors there, so it was really intimate, and I feel like we really got to talk to all the people, all fans that pay to be there. So I thought that was really cool, because I know at some of the bigger ones, people pay even more money to go because they get to see more people. But you literally get to talk to everyone for like 4 seconds. Which is kind of crazy. I mean, considering the amount of money you're spending, and you only get to see these people for like 4 seconds. So I thought it was really cool that they were able to we talked to at least each person individually for like at least 10 minutes. So I thought that was really cool.
That's cool.
Oh, that is really cool. How long were you over there for?
I flew in midnight, and then the next 2 days I had the convention all day long, and then flew out the next morning. So I was literally there just for the convention.
Gotcha. And you were there kind of at an interesting time in history, too, with the whole Brexit vote and the whole EU deal over there. Yeah, was that a big deal over there while you were there?
The Brexit thing wasn't as big as you might think. It is Europe, but it isn't, it's not part of the UK or anything. But there was a transportation strike that was going on, I guess, just in Brussels, like just in the city itself. Yeah. So there was like crazy traffic and just a lot of none of the buses were running, and all the taxis refused to take people. So it was kind of crazy for a second, but it ended that Friday. So yeah.
Oh, great. Well, I'm glad that you had fun. I've always wanted to go to a Comic-Con. Me and Dave have tried to use the podcast to get into Comic-Cons for free, and it just hasn't worked out yet.
Yeah.
So I always imagine, so one day people will pretend that we're somebody's and we'll get in. But I always felt it'd be interesting. You are on a popular TV show about a pretty iconic superhero character. And I've always wondered what that was like. Like you're sitting there and there's people lined up to see just you. And I've always I honestly don't know if I could do that. but it's so surreal. I don't even think, at least for me personally, I don't even know how this all happened, kind of thing. You know what I mean? To me, when I think about how, where I'm at, it's kind of a dream. And especially being at Comic-Con and seeing all these people that people coming up to me and being like, when I saw they added you, because I was a last minute ad. With a couple people dropped out, and they asked if I could fill in, and a couple fans came up to me and they were like, I saw that you were coming in the last minute. I had to buy my ticket. So it's crazy that these people were buying their tickets, right? Isn't that crazy? Specifically to see you. How crazy is that? Yeah, that's so great though.
It is. I know it is, and it's really sweet that they're able to do that. You know what I mean? There's a way for fans to interact with these superheroes that they love so much. So yeah, no, it was cool, and I definitely want to do more conventions and just get out there and have the fans be able to interact for sure.
Awesome. Now, when you're on the set, because it was kind of a big deal that with the whole Superman versus Batman thing going into the Justice League in the movie theaters, it was kind of a big deal that there was a Flash TV show, but the folks in the Flash TV show won't be the Flash and those characters in the movies. Is that kind of awkward on set? I mean, is or do people just not think about that?
No, I think on our set, we just have so much going on that there isn't really time to feel bad or sad about it. But I mean, at the same time, obviously, it is a little bit of a bummer that, especially, Grant isn't able to carry that to the movies. I think Ezra, was that his name? Ezra Miller? I think he's going to do a great job. I've liked stuff and seen him in the past, but it would be a nice homage to the show and to Grant, who has worked so hard these past 2 seasons to be able to carry on the movies. And I know he's a little sad about it as well. But at the same time, we've got so much going on, and we only get about 6 weeks of hiatus in between the seasons. So I think honestly, all of the guys in this show are just kind of happy to have that time and don't want to work more on the show. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah,
totally. And looking at your IMDb, unless IMDb is incorrect, it seems like you're relatively early on in your career as an actor. And Dave and I were talking. We were like, wow, that's awesome. That because we've talked to a few people now, and me and Dave are always amazed to hear about the folks who managed to land like a big one early on. What was the interview? What was the audition process like, and how did that feel? Where you got to be a part of such a big property such as The Flash?
Yeah, it was actually kind of interesting because with The Flash in particular, I don't think that they anticipated the role to be what it's come. Because my audition I just sent in a tape, and I never met anyone, and they booked me, and then I flew to Vancouver, and that was the first time I met anyone on the whole show. Which is just, that never happens. Like that, unless you're only supposed to be there for like 1 or 2 episodes, and they just like are so busy they can't see you. Like that just never happens. So I think I don't know, maybe with Harrison and her relationship on screen, maybe that made them think like, oh, we should keep her around for a bit or something. But yeah, so I don't think I didn't know what character I was auditioning for, and I don't think they knew exactly what. So I think that's part of it. But also, it is kind of great that Greg Berlanti and the CW both are open to casting new faces. I think that's really important because there's a lot of talent out there that just isn't discovered. And if you just keep giving things to the same people, then, it sucks for a lot of the other people who want to get out there. So, I mean, I have so much gratitude for Greg Berlanti and Andrew Kreisberg and all the people at the CW and David Rappaport and Lindsay Baldessari, all those people. Because, I mean, honestly, they give people their shot. So, that's, that has been wonderful. And then just being on set with all these talented actors has been crazy. I do feel very lucky that I am so young and so early in my career to have experienced this. And, I just hope it keeps going.
Well, that's great. And The Flash was picked up for a 3rd season.
Yeah.
And you're going to be there, right?
Yeah. So it was released that I will be coming back in season 3. We don't know as what yet or when. But with the whole Flashpoint thing being the beginning of the season, anything could happen. So I'm hoping I come back as Earth 1 Jesse. I think that'd be cool. But who knows what they'll decide to do.
Yeah, and Dave, you're not as big as a comic book guy as me, and the whole Flashpoint storyline was a very big, seminal storyline in DC Comics. And when she refers to Earth 1...
It was its own sort of spin-off, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a huge story. Every year comic companies have their one big tentpole event where they, with Marvel it was Civil War, you know what I mean? And Flashpoint was one of those type of stories, and it's kind of fun to see that they're actually tackling that in the TV show as opposed to a movie, because the whole Batman versus Superman thing, that was a big turning point in the characters, but it happened years ago, and a lot of people thought, well, that would make a better, instead of shoehorning it all into one movie, why not make that 2 or 3 movies in itself? So a lot of people were really excited that when they announced that season 3 would be the Flashpoint storyline, a lot of people were excited that they weren't saving that for a Flash movie, but they were giving it the chance to pan out over several months.
Yeah. Actually, I appreciate that too, because that's what's so great about TV is that you have so much more time to develop these stories and characters. So yeah, I think that is really awesome that they gave it to the TV show. And I mean, maybe you'll make a movie down the road, but for now we've got it. So back off.
Well, speaking of Flashpoint, I do have a couple questions from some Reddit folks. If you want to take a stab at answering some of those.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Mr. Bubbles 9039, which, by the way, I love this every time Dave and I do this because it's impossible not to feel silly when you read people's screen names, but that's the only thing you have to go by. So,
Well,
so
especially when Bubbles is in this game.
Mr. Bubble wants to know what you think about a possible Jesse and Wally relationship.
Yeah.
Coming up. I know you probably can't say much, but
Well, I don't honestly know very much. I think they only let a few people read that first script, and then besides that, no one's seen anything. So I don't know a whole lot. But I mean, you saw last season they kind of they got their flirt on and they were hanging out, and I think it makes sense. You know what I mean? They're both sort of outsiders. They don't know a whole lot of people, and they're around the same age. And I don't know. It makes sense that they would kind of like find each other. So I'm not opposed to it. Keenan's an awesome dude, and I loved doing scenes with him before. So if that continued, I would not mind. And yeah, I think it could be cute.
you know what? I got to ask, how far in advance do you get the scripts? Because we talk to a lot of Better Call Saul people because of we have a Better Call Saul podcast, and we've had a lot of the cast from that on our show as well. And Dave and I are always intrigued because we're not in the business. We really have no idea how any of this works.
Right.
So do you get the script right before filming, or with your show, do you have an idea of like the season's story arc before you start filming?
So I think, I think Grant and maybe Candace and Danielle, I think maybe they know their story arc a little bit sooner than everyone else, but not much, to be totally honest with you, not much. Throughout the season, we maybe get our script a week before the start of the episode, shooting. And that's like lucky if it's a week. Usually it's less than that. And usually we do a cast read through so we can like sort of, talk it through and see how the episode needs to arc. But sometimes we don't get around to it. So that's always interesting. You just kind of wing it and hope for the best. But yeah, no, it's a very fast paced business, and they're always making changes. So you could get a change to your scene the night before and just have to like rememorize it and hope it doesn't change the feeling of the scene too much. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like you can't really plan too much. And I think, with the writers, they're only a couple episodes ahead of what we're shooting. And we're only shooting a couple episodes ahead of what's airing. So it's very like go, and things are always changing on a whim.
That's another thing I think Dave and I found really interesting about as we learn more about the processes is I think everybody thinks that everything is written. Everybody remembers their part, and then they start at the first scene and pretty much record in sequential order. But no, it seems like everybody's working in real time, and it's like up to the last minute that they're still changing scenes and such.
Well, they're still changing things, and also you never shoot in order. So you shoot based on location and based on the people and scenes. So you could shoot the very first scene back to the very last scene of the episode. So you have to plan that stuff out when you first read the episode. And that's why cast read-throughs are pretty great, because then you can see the whole episode and see how the other people are playing it and work off that. But yeah, no, it's kind of crazy how you can jump around the whole script and, you're supposed to be in that different emotion right away. So it's kind of crazy.
Awesome. To Will from another Redditor. Now he wrote this with a smiley face, so I'm going to try to read it as not creepy as possible. But he says, "Can you ask her if she'll post more photos to her Instagram?"
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I post a lot on Instagram. Actually, it's my favorite social media. So I don't know how much more he wants me to post, but yeah, no, I post a lot.
Maybe it's sarcasm in that
but yeah.
you do post a lot.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, he's like, could you stop posting on Instagram?
I don't know. Maybe he or she is a big fan, because she did put a semicolon with a capital D. So I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be like the ha face, like the big smiley, like mouth agape face. So yeah,
screaming happy face.
Look, Dave and I are old. Like I don't understand Instagram, and I barely figured out Twitter when we started doing the podcast. So we're old dudes. So.
Just start posting pictures of him.
Fun.
Yeah.
Of the fan?
Yeah. Of the fan. Start posting pictures of the fan. Be like, here you go.
Yeah, you want more photos, bro?
King Bishop wants to know, if Jessie gets a suit, do you think she'll create it on her own?
Ooh, that's interesting. She is extremely intelligent, so she could. All I'm hoping is that it's really cool looking, and I can breathe in it.
Right,
Because I
right.
know it's going to be made out of all leather, and I'm not going to die. So, yeah.
And those costumes are so elaborate.
Oh, they totally are. Yeah, and they're all made by the same lady, Maya. Maya and her team all create these from scratch, and I've seen the process with other costumes, with other outfits, and it's actually really cool, and it's a lot more than you'd think it takes.
Yeah.
And you know, and the fact that she does all of them for her and her team, do all of them for the Flash, Arrow, and Legends. And probably now that Supergirl moves to Vancouver, she might start doing that too. So it's just kind of, I mean, it's crazy how much effort and time gets put into those costumes. So, hopefully they're working on one for Jesse.
And it's kind of fun that they're doing a lot of the crossover and guest appearances with the DC characters as well, like with Arrow, and then I guess they're bringing in Superman into Supergirl, but it's almost like you're developing like another Justice League on top of the movie universe one, because is there going to be a time you think that you'll like the characters from Flash will move over to Supergirl and vice versa and into Arrow, because you've already done a couple crossovers with Arrow.
Yeah, there's been a few with Arrow and one with Legends, and they're actually doing a big one with all 4 shows. I don't exactly know how that's going to happen, but
Awesome.
they're doing one with all 4. So that's going to be kind of crazy. And yeah, no, I think it is cool. And with Legends of Tomorrow, I think that was kind of like a Suicide Squad type situation. They bring a bunch of villains and heroes together to like make a team. So that they kind of did that already as a spin-off. But yeah, no, it's kind of like its own little Justice League in a way, especially because we're all in Vancouver now, so it's so close. And it's so easy to do those crossovers. When Supergirl was in LA, it was a little bit harder. Grant had to travel down there and was away from the show for a while. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty cool.
That's awesome. And then the last Reddit thing I'll ask you is Obsessive Fandomer ask if you think, or okay, I'm going to read it as they write it because I'm having a hard time switching the context of it. Okay, so ask her about how she thinks her character will think about Barry changing time again.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I don't know if she's going to have any thoughts on it, because if he changes the timeline, she may have never come over to Earth 1, and therefore she may not even know who Barry is.
Oh.
So I don't think, you know what I mean? So if he changes the timeline, then maybe Harrison Wells from Earth 1 or Earth 2 never came to Earth 1 to save his daughter from Zoom. Therefore, how would we know Barry? We would only know Barry from Earth 2 as the CSI, like nerdy, dorky one that you saw in the middle of last season.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Did you read a lot of Flash comics to prepare for the show? Are you a comic book reader by nature, or
has this kind of sparked your interest in the comics?
It definitely like made me more interested in it. And when I didn't know what character I was auditioning for, so I couldn't get any before I auditioned. But when I booked it, I went in and got a bunch on Jessie Quick, because she's sort of scattered throughout the series. She's not, she doesn't have her own branch. So I went in and found a bunch of ones that she was featured in, and read up a bit on those. And then I've received like collection books of the Flash from family and friends. So yeah, I've got a lot of material now to work with.
Oh, well, and now you're a part of the Flash lore forever. You're a part of it now.
I know, it's kind of crazy.
Well, it's absolutely awesome. Dave and I wish you nothing but the best. Where it's been awesome talking to you. And I'm not going to keep you too much later tonight, because I think it's what, going on 10 o'clock where you're from, 9 o'clock where you're from. Where you're at right now?
Yeah, it's 9 in LA, but I'm from Austin, so my time zone is 11.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, it's almost 11 o'clock here.
Jet lagged.
Oh gosh. Well, it's almost 11 o'clock here. Thank you so much for coming on the Nothing Important podcast, and we hope that everybody keeps watching you on The Flash and seeing where they take your character Jesse Quick into season 3. And do you have any other projects coming up that you might want to plug? Because now the floor is yours if you'd like to do that.
Yeah, just for now, The Flash, I'm I've got a couple things in the works, but I can't, release them yet.
Right.
But just keep an eye out and watch season 3. And yeah, that's all.
Awesome.
Follow me on Instagram and Twitter.
Awesome. Violett, thank you so much for coming on our show. We hope we can do it again sometime.
Yeah, me too. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Have a great night.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Dave, that was Violett Beane from the Flash TV show. Super cool chick.
Yeah, I know it was Violett Beane, Brian. I talked to her too.
Yeah, and I think I probably said that about 10 times on this very podcast. No, man, that's awesome. It's kind of fascinating to learn about the inner workings of how TV shows and such get made.
Yeah.
Right? Like, to me, that's almost as interesting as talking to people about their actual work. It's just finding out the processes, because we're nobodies. And I know you've edited sound and such for some movies, but I've never sat in on like a filming or anything like that. And it's like the perceptions that you have of how TV shows are made. A lot of people are ignorant, probably just like me, and think, oh, well, they just like point the camera and go. But
Yeah.
that is such a huge undertaking,
Oh.
and it seems like you're so pressed for time.
Logistical nightmares. And that was one thing, why they can't shoot it linearly, or, they group scenes together, they group actors together. So it puts a lot on location scouts, and there's got to be an entire logistical department, because film sets are insane. They employ hundreds of people. So yeah, you're not going to, build a set to take
Right.
it down to film the same scene a week later, to take it down to film at the same spot 2 weeks later, Yeah, you knock it all out at once, because it's impressive, man. I've been involved with one, and it's the deal.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. She seems like she really appreciates the opportunity that she earned, which is important. Nobody gave it to her; she earned it.
She's still green.
And,
That's why.
Yeah.
She's still young, so she still has
She's
that
not
vibe
cynical
about her
yet.
of like being grateful for where you are and appreciative and name dropping everybody that's helped and important and part of the process. And give her a couple years, and she'll just be like, "Yeah, it's all me."
Well, just like anybody else at their job, you're excited for it at the beginning, and then after a few years, you're just like,
Yeah.
it's just what you do after a while.
I call it the Taylor Swift syndrome.
Explain.
It is a completely arbitrary celebrity that I really don't care for.
Fair enough. I have a 5-year-old daughter now, and now she's starting to discover Taylor Swift.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's a sight to behold around my house. Barbie, Taylor Swift, and My Little Pony. It's like a weird combo. So she still like has like the real innocent little kid stuff with the My Little Pony,
Right.
But she's really digging Barbie with like the fashion sense and being a businesswoman part of it. So it's like this weird combination of she doesn't own a farm. She's just like Barbie if Barbie raised My Little Ponies. It's kind of what her deal is.
Meanwhile,
but
listening
back
to terrible pop music.
Yep, of course, man. But back to Violett. Super awesome of her to come on our show. Well, we look forward to watching her coming into season 3, and it was really cool for her to answer some of Reddit's questions and talk some nerd talk with me. And sorry, I kind of pushed you out there, Dave.
No,
a lot
it's
of people
cool
don't know
because
this,
she
but-
got nerdy right there with you.
yeah,
what'd you
absolutely.
say?
Oh, I was gonna say a lot of people don't see it, but you and I actually see each other because we're using a camera.
Right.
But but I was switching through other stuff on the computer, which I think I was talking about when we started the show. And you were trying to flag me down because you had a question for her, but I didn't see it because I was reading Reddit.
Right. Yeah, that happened.
Awesome.
True story.
Awesome. Well, Dave, good talking to my friend. Next week we have scheduled Milo Yiannopoulos. I hope I pronounced that right.
I think it's just Yiannopoulos.
Yiannopoulos.
Maybe.
Milo, he's a controversial guy. It's going to be a great show. I can't wait to talk to him because I think a lot of people also have this weird misconception of him, especially if they don't particularly agree with his political views because he's so outspoken. About him being kind of standoffish and a jerk, but he's not. Due to my my interaction with him so far has been nothing but pleasant, and I can't wait to talk to the guy and ask him what his favorite frozen pizza is, if they have frozen pizza in UK.
I am going to gamble. I'm going to make a prediction that the question slightly throws him off, but he rolls with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he'll come up with one right off the top of his head. Like, I would just be like Tombstone as soon as you ask me.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we'll see next week. Make sure to turn in next week when we talk to Milo Yiannopoulos. Make sure to hit us up on Twitter and at our website, nothingimportantpodcast.com. And if you're on iTunes, please make sure to give us a review and spread the word about our tiny little show. That helps us more than you ever know. You can also hear me and Dave talk about our favorite show, Better Call Saul, over at our Better Call Saul podcast called It's All Good, Man. You can find that at www.itsallgoodman.com. And we're also on Twitter with that as well at ISGM Podcast. So a lot of exciting things down the pike. Make sure to spread the word. Dave?
7 seasons in, I still don't watch Game of Thrones.
You can stop recording now.
Be sure to follow Nothing Important online at nothingimportantpodcast.com. Find us on iTunes, on Twitter at NotImportantPC, and you can also find us on Facebook. Nothing Important is recorded with help from Third City Sound in Joliet, Illinois. Thanks for being awesome.